start with Joe. What is your principle of taxation?
My principle of taxation has been out there for all to see over the last 4 years. In the first year of office, I, with Angie, lowered the tax levy. We were preparing the budget for the 2011 tax year. We reduced that tax levy back to 2008 levels. We have maintained that type of attitude. My budget that I proposed this past year offered an additional $43,000 savings to taxpayers. $5,000 of that was through a tax levy reduction, and $38,000 of that was through the funding of a septic repair fund. Instead of taking money out of the general fund, I built it into our tax levy. That has been a very strong suit of mine to stay at and reduce our taxes. I believe very simply that you take and tax the money that you need to execute the plans that you have submitted and can defend. If you do not need $4,986, which was the 2014 number that I determined we did not need, as a matter of principle, you leave that in your pockets. You don't just take it because you can. And I was very opposed to that. And maybe that's something that people would say that I bickered about, but I was inflexible because that is a principle. There is a difference between a position and an opinion and a principle. If you are a principled person on an issue, you should be inflexible on it. And I believe firmly that if I don't need $1, just because I could tax that dollar, doesn't mean that I should. I should leave it on the table as a matter of principle.
Thank you. Mike?
My principle is that the taxes should be as low as possible. It was a driving force for my involvement in the fire department for 10 years. The fact is that one of the key reasons that we have the low taxes that we have in this town is because of the paid-on-call structure that we have in our fire department, letting go of full-time structure. That is really one of the key budget line items that allows us to have the taxation that we have in the town. While there's been a lot of talk about the low tax levy and the tax levy coming down over the past couple of years, I do have real concerns about how that was done. There are many, many areas where money was budgeted, and it was budgeted with the thought of being spent and still maintaining that low taxation rate. But because other bills, largely attorney bills, had to be paid, there were many, many other areas that were foregone. Items such as no money spent on crack filling in 2012. Items such as underspending substantially on road repairs in 2012. Underspending on a highway truck that was needed. So when you start to look at the budget and you start to think about taxation, while low taxation is an important principle, we still have a town to run, and we have to make sure that we run the town in a fashion that is sustainable. And when we make decisions to move money from one line item to another, that's done in the open and it's done in an appropriate way.
Thank you. Jim?
I agree that we need to keep our taxes low, but we also have a town to run. We've got some things that need to be taken care of. This year, for example, was a terrible winter as far as snow plowing and salting bills go. We need to budget accordingly. We need to pay for those things. There's going to be a lot of street repairs that are coming up. We need to take care of those. It's one thing to budget for something, and it's another to not use that money. In 2012, for example, we had $60,000 budgeted for a generator that was never spent. Where did that go? Why didn't we buy the generator? In fact, in 2012, we had a total of $544,000 of budgeted items that we didn't spend the money on. Where did that go? Back into the bank to say that we saved taxes, that we were fiscally responsible? We've got a duty to the people that are here. We've got a lot of things that need to be done. We need to take care of them. I'm not in favor of raising taxes. However, I am in favor of working on a budget that makes sense. I did vote for an increase in the tax levy. Well, let's understand it was a 0.03% tax increase, which, as I pointed out at a board meeting, equated to less than $1.50 per everybody's house. $1.50. 0.03% to most people would be considered statistically no increase at all. So yes, I guess you can say I voted for taxation to the max, but in all honesty, it was taxation to make sense of the budget. I didn't look at a surprise budget that was put upon us to go beyond that. I looked at what was presented to us, and I felt we had a lot of things and still have a lot of things that money should be spent on, the money that we voted on, the money that was budgeted for, the money that you people have coming to you.
Thank you. Angie?
Demonstrated with coming into office, commitment to reduce taxes. Our taxes in the scheme of things are of course much lower than municipalities nearby. We run at about $1.88 a thousand. The city is over $10 a thousand. So you can say they're 5 times what we are on our tax rate. Very important, I think, for all of us. We're here, many of us are here because of the great way of life and our ability to afford our homes and afford our lots. And I think that's a responsibility of the town board to make sure that one of those basic tenets, the reasons that we're here, is well maintained. I've heard numbers thrown around tonight that I don't recognize. You know, $544,000 that people don't know what happened to it, then someone's not clearly understanding the financial statements. As a financial professional, I spent many years, I was a banker for many, many years. I have a business administration degree. I'm very comfortable with numbers, very comfortable with accounting. And I want to save money. I want to save money personally, and I want to save money for the taxpayers of the town of Waukesha, and we've done that. Even with spending the money that we did on attorney fees, we still completed our projects, and we were still able to put more money into the treasury than we had before. Why? Because we understood each line item. Some people in the last election called that micromanaging. I call it managing. When you have a $3 million budget, people should know where the money's coming from and where it's going. We did that, and that's why we were able to reduce taxes from 2011 to 2008 levels, and why we were able to protect the town and still add money to the bottom line.